it's great to talk to you, Zen.
Yep.
It's awesome to have the chance to get to know you a little bit and know more about your language learning journey. So the reason I do conversations like this is I'm trying to figure out the best way to teach people or show people the
Yeah.
language learning journey without it coming from me, because
Mhm.
from me it's coming from a place of I've taught students, I've helped students, this has helped students,
Right.
but I want to find a way to get across what other people have gone through, people who have made the journey, in some ways more important than someone who's telling them what to do, right? Like me.
Especially this guy's a Chinese, right?
Well, yes, yes. I,
Yeah,
I
in
mean, I
Chinese I
think,
can tell the difference. Like,
yeah, sure. And I mean,
yeah,
I mean, I think language learning is universal in a lot of ways, but
yeah.
yeah, there are things that are specific for each language. So maybe at the start, if you wouldn't mind, could you just talk a
Mhm.
bit about your English learning journey and how you started? I know you went to America. Maybe you could just talk a little bit about that, and then we can get more into the specifics.
Yeah. I think I'll start by the humble beginning of my English journal. All right,
Yeah,
English
sure.
journey. I think as most of 90s Chinese kid, we started English learning uh, since grade three, and then just a Chinese teacher come up to you and hold a hold a board, be like apple, apple, and pronounce the apple. I is like
iPod,
I
yeah,
in Chinese love, right, right, right. And the milk, right, you,
yeah,
milk, milk. Should be milk, right? Milk, right? There's so many nuances when you pronounce English, right?
yeah.
But they'd be like, they'd be like Chinese style milk.
I
And
love
then
that pronunciation though. There's something very charming about it.
Charming, okay, I got it.
Because yeah, because I
And
have so
then
many
yeah,
Chinese
go
friends.
ahead.
I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, milk, apple, and good study stuff. And then I started English just like this all the way when I was in the college in China.
Hmm.
And then I went to an English institute. But I think based on the some policies, I don't think I need to speak out the name of the institute.
Sure. Yeah.
But out
Yeah.
there, yeah, but out there, there are so many foreign friends, like American teachers, English teachers, teachers from South Africa,
Hmm.
Australia, the golden mind, those people. And then I got good chance and good environment to speak out whatever I learned. So I could speak and practice every single sentence that I learned from movie, from the teasers, from the trailers. That's the time I improved my English like rapidly.
So you
Yeah,
started when you were in, you said third grade, around what
yeah,
age?
yeah.
Age nine, 8, 9, something like that.
Around nine. Right, right.
Okay, and that was the very beginning,
The humble beginning.
the humble beginning. Okay, and then
Right, right.
when did you actually go to America to?
I went to America after I finished my college, and then I worked for around 1 year. So it should be December 2014. So like five years in
December
America.
2014. Okay, you spent
Right,
how long
right.
there?
5 years.
Okay, now when you were there, as opposed to being in China, did you
Right.
find it the same in terms of your English atmosphere? I mean, did going to America sort of give you actually more opportunities to speak, or was it about the same? How were you able to give yourself the environment to practice in China, and then how did that translate
Good.
to coming to the U.S.?
So going to US, I would say, yeah, it definitely gives me a lot more opportunities to speak English.
Hmm.
And you have to survive, right? If you don't really open, like, make up your mind, open your mouth to speak to people, you cannot do anything.
Yeah,
Even though you got lots of Chinese friends around you,
I was
but
going to mention that
still
a
you're
lot of
gonna,
people.
right? Still
Yeah.
you're gonna go to supermarket. You're still gonna go to the OGIs. Wait, what do you call OGIs in English? Organization of Global Study. So this is where the foreign
Oh,
students
okay.
go
Yeah.
to deal with our daily issues. You're still gonna open your mouth and talk to them, do the communication. Otherwise, you cannot. I don't think you can deal with your daily life without that. Yeah.
So yeah. So one of the issues that I've noticed, I have a friend who actually lives in China now, went to university for 4 years, and didn't really improve his English
He's
that
foreigner.
much.
He's Lao Wai.
No, no, no.
Oh, no. The
A
Chinese
Chinese
guy.
friend
Oh, the
who
American. Oh, sorry.
went
Yeah.
to the United States to study for 4 years, and then I didn't meet him until after. He had improved his English after coming back from the United States, but before that didn't really improve because he spent all of his time around Chinese friends only and barely communicated.
Home, right?
Yeah, barely went out.
I know that.
I mean, how did you deal with that balance, finding the balance between getting out of your comfort zone and still having a connection? Is there a balance, or do you have to just completely jump into the foreign atmosphere?
Right. I would say it's really about your personality, right? If you're an easygoing guy like me, I'll just like wherever I go, I'll just go find people, go get beer and talk to them, share my life stories and make friends. But for most of Chinese, I think is something deep inside of our culture. Chinese people tend to be kind of unspoken, right, compared to foreigners. Have to be modest, have to be unspoken, have to be like silent, because somehow it showed your manner, right? But if you go to America, I do suggest like going out of the comfort zone and talk to foreigners and to practice your English and try to be a part of the community for whatever the community is, right? The school, the campus, the office, the gym. Otherwise, it's such a pity if you don't use this language as a tool to make new friends. Such a pity.
It's an interesting thing to say that personality is relevant, because a lot of people, students will ask me, "Hey, how long does it take to master English?" And I say, "Well, that's not a very good question." You know, because it depends on a lot of different variables. What does it even mean to say you've mastered it? First of all, that's the first question. But how important is someone's personality in language learning? It's kind of taboo to say that personality is relevant, but you've said it already, so we might as well talk about it.
I would say personality plays 51% in speaking a language. 51%.
That's a pretty big percentage.
Right. It's about personality.
Interesting.
Because if you make mistakes, right? If you're easygoing guy, right, you don't feel shy. You don't feel, God, why do I have so much struggles and so many mistakes and difficulties when I'm speaking that, right? I don't want to speak it anymore, right?
Right.
So, but if you're a cool guy, like you just feel, yeah, cool, come on, just making mistakes is a part of learning English. It's a part of everything. So you don't feel stressed about it. So you can just do it really well.
Right. So the fear of mistakes is more of a personality characteristic rather than the actual things that you're learning, right?
Rather than the actual things, yeah.
Fair enough.
Psychologically.
Between the ages of 9 and when you went to the United States, how did you create an environment for yourself to practice English, to learn English naturally?
So up until when I was in middle school, I didn't really have any good chances to speak and practice English, like oral English.
Yeah.
But when I went to a college, I went to the English Institute, right? And they taught me English in a more mathematical way, systematic way too.
Okay.
And then I was in Beijing, right? There were so many Lao Wai, so many foreigners in Beijing everywhere, right? So I went to Sanlitun, I went to Tiananmen Square, I went to Chaoyang. I just talked to them. Literally just went up to them, be like, hey, I want to speak English. I think you're a cool guy. You want to speak some Chinese to me? You want to learn that? Or where are you going? I can just stray around. And then I made so many friends.
Volunteering to be a tour guide. What better way?
Volunteering, but sometimes you gotta pay me the ticket.
Yeah.
If we want to travel around Beijing, the Zhongguolou, the Forbidden City, the Great Wall, yeah, they gotta pay me the ticket. That's it.
That
and then
so
make friends.
a lot of people are afraid to just walk up to someone though. A lot of English learners are afraid to do that. How do you is that something that you were born with, or is that something that you have to develop?
Uh, it's something you have to develop, and there's something you have to prepare, right? At least you're gonna prepare. You're gonna bring a little notebook, right? You're gonna maybe write up like 10 or 20 sentences and phrases that you might need to use,
Right.
and then just go to them and do the thing. And if you do it before the Great Wall, right, you better just prepare the tourist, what looks at the tourism lines, right?
Yeah.
Is this the Great
Phrases for
Wall, the
tourism.
watching tower, the great Asian glory of China? This is
I
what I
mean,
did pretty much.
that's a
Yeah.
it's a useful service, honestly.
Right.
Last time I went to the Forbidden City, I had no idea, what I was experiencing. So it would have
Like
been
which
nice
part
to.
of the city?
I don't remember.
The whole Forbidden City. Okay,
You can't explore the whole thing in one day, right? Yeah,
you can.
yeah, yeah. I don't think you can. Can you?
Yeah, I think you can explore, but it depends on how you co-explore. Like just walk to each room and then see, oh, room, take a photo.
Yeah, that's
Next
not
room,
really
next room,
exploring,
next room.
right?
Yeah.
It's like going to the Met in New York. Going to the Met is something that takes, if you do it correctly, it will take a long time. It's not something
Yeah,
you
the,
do
the
once.
China, the Chinas, the Asians, the Japans, the Europeans. Oh God, it was huge. It
It's
was
huge.
beautiful.
It's so much to explore. I
good.
mean, I've been living in New York for 5 years now, and I still haven't seen everything. It's incredible. Well, I wanted to ask a little bit about the
Yes.
advantages of knowing English. If you were going to sort of if there's a sales pitch for someone
Oh,
who's deciding,
okay.
should I learn English? Should I not? What's the reason? And maybe you can use your own context or your own background to talk about that.
All right. Should I do it? The answer is yes, yes, yes. Of course, you can do it. The reason is because right now I think English is an international language, right? It
Hmm.
ranks number one in United Nations official language,
Yeah.
United official languages. So wherever you go, uh, what kind of whatever business you do, you need the help of English. Otherwise, you cannot do anything. To me, especially if you want to go abroad, right? Australia, UK, America, South Africa, Canada, English is a must.
Yeah, it's functional. Yeah.
You read the paper, right? Yeah, you read the paper. You talk to people. You listen to the class. You listen to the lecture, the class. Yeah, English. If you do not know English, I'll say if you do not, um, I'll say the speed uh, to get a raise is kind of slow, and the chances are fat,
Right,
right?
right. So opportunities, especially when you travel abroad, or even opportunities that are more international opportunities, are more likely to
Right.
be there if you have the English sort of background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good explanation. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. We gonna mention something?
Right. I think also there are so many values that learning English can give you that others can't. Is that if you can master English well, right? You can make people and friends around the world. So at that time, you have to reassess yourself, reassess your own culture, and you always try to be like neutralized and try to respect him, respect that guy, respect that guy. What kind of taboos does he have? What kind of taboos does his culture have? What kind of what kind of behaviors or traditions that his culture have, but you don't. So if you know English, you can master those stuff really well. And then one day, I think it helps you to be a better person if
That's
you can really master this language well.
that's sort of a case for learning any language. When you learn a language, you're also learning a culture, and when you're
Right.
learning
But if you
any,
learn,
yeah,
yeah, but if you learn English, you can make lots of friends from all around the world, right? Because
yeah,
it's an international
yeah,
language,
right,
right?
fair enough. With that
As a
added
tool,
advantage,
yeah,
sure. It's
yeah, yeah,
functional. it's a functional language, even if it's not. I mean, there are a lot of people who do international business, and neither one speaks English as their first language, but they communicate in English because that's the common denominator.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But that point that you mentioned about understanding that, oh, this language is part of a culture, and this language is can tell me something about the culture. It forces that. I think that would be true for learning any language, probably, right?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
What about learning words? A lot of people struggle with the way to learn words.
Vocabulary, right?
Yeah, yeah. How do you learn vocabulary? How did you learn vocabulary? What is the right way to do it? What's the wrong way to do it?
Yeah, that's a good question though, because people always tell me, like they used to tell me that you have to remember, say, like 10 words each month or each week. Like this week, remember 10 words. Next week, 10 words. 3 weeks later, 10 words, right? So you got 30 words. But
Yeah.
seems like it was more like a mathematical problem. It didn't really tackle its own problem because my head is not a machine, right? It's not a PC, right? You don't do it 10 like
You're a Mac.
this week. 10, right? I'm not Mac. So for me, I would say I try to memorize. I tried to memorize 20 words this week, and then maybe I forgot 10, right? And next week I try to remember another 20, and then another 20. So each week I forget something. But if the words that I remember is more than the words that I forget, so after this round I still remember lots of words.
Two steps forward, one step back, then something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like a trade-off, right?
So
you
failure
do learn
is
something, but you forget.
Extend yourself more than you think you can, and you're going to get something. And part of it is going to be failure, but the failure is included in the total overall gain that you get.
Yeah. Right.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes a
so
lot of
do
sense.
it from a big picture, right? Otherwise, you only give you too much pressure doing it, but hard to do it.
Well, and how do you define learning a word? Does that mean you remember what it means? Does that mean you know the definition, or does that mean you know how to use it? How should that be defined?
So first of all, word. I never really think, working on word is something independent.
Yeah.
I always relate word with grammar, with sentence, with songs, with pictures, with the whole discourse environment.
But how do you do that? Because that learning isolated words. So you would say learning from a vocabulary list probably doesn't not very helpful. So then how do you learn with the picture, with the context, with the grammar? How do you do it together?
So with the picture, I like to draw stuff. That's it. So pretty
those
much
sort of comic book cells. There's a fly buzzing around my head.
Yeah, I just draw stuff. So
okay, that's cool.
Pictures are easy for me, right? Yeah, and then I always remember I always try to work on the short, the trailers, the teasers, the short video clips. I just listen to them like thousands, 10,000s of times every day during my spare time. Say when I was in the subway, when I was waiting for someone, I just listen to them, right? You didn't know the meaning of word, but after thousands of times of listening and practicing, one day you saw this word like somewhere else, be like, oh, that's the word that I learned. Not the movie, not the video clip, and then you got it.
But do you ever write that whole thing down? So you're listening to, let's say, a trailer.
I seldom write any. I seldom write them.
Okay, so when you're learning words, you actually do it mostly through listening.
Yeah, listening and practicing. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I feel like that's uncommon.
I got lots of chances. Yeah, I got lots of chances to talk to foreigners, so that helps too. You just talk to them.
So by listening to something, though, you're hearing it within the context of the trailer. At first, you don't know what it means, but at least it allows you to recognize it better in the future. Is that the idea?
Right. Yeah, this is the idea. The recognition comes later, but the memorization came first.
Yeah,
right?
I've honestly found the same thing when it comes to learning Chinese words. Sometimes I will have heard this word a million times in the background, but I never was paying attention to it. And then someone said,
Sure.
"This is called
Yeah.
this," and I go, "Oh!" And then I know
Oh,
it.
right, right,
Suddenly,
right.
I know it deeply, and
Yeah.
I know exactly how to use it because I've heard it 100,000 times. I just never really bothered to ask. There's a gnat flying around me. I never bothered to ask, "What does this mean?" Right? It's kind of the same
Right.
idea. Yeah.
It's just something really about Zen, you know. In Zen, you have to reach some, the sudden enlightenment.
Mm.
It's like one day, oh, boom,
Sudden
it's open.
enlightenment with the right steps
It's
leading
right
up
movement.
to it, though, right? I mean,
Right, right, right.
there's it's not sudden in the sense that it's absolutely sudden, but
Yeah.
it happens suddenly with the previous things sort
After,
of in the
right,
right
after the
order.
whole previous stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
I found, and you can tell me if you agree. When it comes to Chinese English learners, there's a major issue with the opposite of what you just described, which is most English learners are very good at reading and understanding written text, but then connecting that to their ear is then a challenge. So in other words,
It is.
you can
It is
say,
a challenge.
"Do you understand that?" Yes, I understand that very well. Do you know this word? Yes. But then if you didn't show them that and you said the same word, they might say, "I don't know that word," because they
They might say,
haven't.
excuse me, teacher.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
based on the education system. It's mostly visual and it's mostly reading words. So
Right.
what you described as
Right.
your method is very different from the
Right.
sort of normal education method in China and in a lot of countries as well.
Right. So time-wise, I'll say you're gonna use your spare time to remember to do all these practices, right? Because you don't have any pressure.
Yeah.
Right. You're relaxed. But mathematically, I also do something else. You know, I like to. I'm super fan of lots of sitcoms and movies. So I choose one or two of my best episodes of Friends or Everybody Loves Raymond or whatever. Just sitcoms. I download the script of the episode, and then I listen to the episode like tens of thousands of times, and then also work on the scripts and say, oh, okay.
Do you
You
do it
got
at
it.
the same time? Do you listen first and then read the script, or do you listen 5 times and then read the script?
I will say I listen and watch them with subtitles, of course, English subtitles. I watch the TV series maybe 1 month every single day, even at night. You know, there's little radio by my pillow. I play the episodes with very low volume.
Some people would say that's boring. Some people would say, "I'd like to do that, but it sounds boring." I mean, is that something you force yourself to do, or you're just interested in that episode, or?
I pretty much force myself to do it because I know that if I couldn't conquer this one episode, the rest of the episode will be a waste of my time. So I'll work on one episode first and then download the script and then work on every single sentence, every single word, every single sentence, every single word, and always find chances to talk to foreigners, to just use whatever you learned, to just use the interesting, the funny sentence in the script and talk to them and hear their feedback, and then you pretty much got it.
So it's a
'Cause
process of
one episode.
listening, reading,
Go ahead.
and trying to use it then later when you have the chance.
Listening, little bit reading, listening. I work on the rhythms, the funny things.
Do you repeat it when
the slang.
you're reading it? Do you actually say it to yourself out loud, or just
Yeah,
read
I
it?
say to myself, maybe not out of loud, because as beginner, if you do it out of loud, it's hard for you to focus on the nuances, right?
Right.
The rhythms, the things that you didn't realize.
Yeah.
So I just, for example, right? English, you don't really say I want to do something. You always say I wanna do something. I wanna, right? For me, it was something really funny at the beginning. So, what? Wanna? What is wanna? Is it English or is it French? Wanna? Wanna,
Yeah.
right? Sounds French.
It sounds
to me at the
weird. It
beginning.
does sound weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just do the repeat. I wanna, I wanna do, not do, I wanna. So it's long, short, long. I wanna do. And then when you find the from the rhythm, and then you realize that the rhythm plays a very, very important role in this language.
Yeah.
You start to build up the nature to find out which syllable they need to be stressed, which syllable need not to be stressed.
Because
And then
nobody
when I
teaches
hear
rules
English,
for that. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
and then when I hear English speakers, I found out, oh, this part is important, this part is not important. So focus on this part, less important. And then I can get and I can guess, or I can walk around. If I don't understand, I just walk around because I know the core of one sentence.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting approach. Is there any rhyme or reason to why you would choose Friends, or why you would choose Everybody Loves Raymond, or a particular show? Or does it not matter at all?
To me, first of all, it was funny, right?
Yeah.
It was quite funny. Those guys just back and forth, just punchlines. God, they just got me. And those episodes are more about your daily life, right? It's
Very
not like
daily life. Yeah.
Viper story. The handsome Viper. Oh, why don't you like me? Oh God, to me, like everybody loves Raymond. It's a way better love story than vampire stuff.
Well, and it is more, as you said, more sort of closer to daily life. If it's
Daily
a
life.
science fiction show, Star Trek is going to be a lot of crazy science words that
Star Trek
nobody
and Big
needs,
Bang,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
right. But if you really want to go to MIT or some, those kind of school, the Big Bang Theory might be helpful for you.
Well, yeah,
Right.
and the normal conversations in something like Big Bang Theory are also, they're common. The conversations
Yeah,
themselves.
used to, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Are pretty useful.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it too. Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
what about when it comes to thinking? So a lot of people say that thinking in English is important. First of all, I don't want to put ideas in your head, in your mouth, I guess I should say. Is that true? Because you might not agree with that. And if not, why not? If so, how do you do it?
Thinking, I would say, thinking
Thinking,
is most.
yeah. Thinking in
It's an
English, I guess.
underlying factor.
Yeah.
Underlying factor learning one language. Probably the most important factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you got the thinking right, you got the grammar right, you got the general structure right, you got the general rhythm right.
Yeah.
So as a result, it could be that bad, right?
Right. So it's sort of the level of
Think as a
importance.
foreigner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think as a foreigner. Think as a Laobai.
How do you start thinking in English that way, though? I mean, what's the
right? So first of all, I try to Google. No, I actually at that time I tried to Baidu. I tried to Baidu some common mistakes that Chinese students usually made, and I just try to avoid them.
Mm-hmm.
And then by learning and by learning from the TV series, by learning from my foreign teachers, I gradually got the mindset of what a foreigner has. Yeah, it's more about learning. Yeah.
Now,
It's more like result of the whole learning process.
So the mindset is to try to have a way of thinking so that when you express yourself, it comes out naturally. Does that mean that there's no translation happening as well, or
Not much translation to me. I seldom translate.
okay?
It's like It's like I can split my brains into two parts, English and Chinese. When I do English, I use this part.
Is that a habit, or
I
is that
get
something you just?
it's a habit, or maybe it was because my English was super bad at that time. My English was so bad. I almost had zero knowledge about grammar. And then I started to talk to foreigners, so I didn't have those, fixed or stiff Chinese grammar in my brain that I need to wipe out. I think for most
You're making
people,
a
right?
case. You're making a case for not being educated.
Yeah, I'm not trying to encourage that, but I was talking the truth. That really, I just for many Chinese, they really have to erase that part, right?
Yeah.
This kind of grammar, this kind of behavior, erase, do the cleaning. But for me, I didn't really have that kind of concern. It's a Bruce Lee said, right? Like when you learn something, you better to be an empty bottle, right? Empty kettle, right? So that you can put in any water or any drink that you want.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Right.
That's another issue I face with different students in general. I think it's a common language learning problem is to place your assumption about what your learning should be. My language is like this. Why isn't English the same way? Do we say it like this? Why isn't it like that? That is filling the bottle up before you try to fill it. There's no more room.
Right.
But as you said, if the bottle is empty, just say, this is how people say. People say wanna. I don't know. That's pretty weird. But I guess if people say that, then I'll say it. Right.
Right. Make it empty.
There are some there are some expressions in Chinese that are if you translate it literally, it's kind of weird. But you just say that's what people say. So whatever. Yeah. I'll say it.
Yeah. Just face it and say it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I didn't really do the translation, but I could relate Chinese and English very well. You know. Yeah. I got that idea. For example, I never tried to translate, but I can make connection with two languages. Like English, you see, when you understand something, you say, "Oh, I see," right? I see, I understand, I see. But in Chinese, you say 明白, right?
Yeah,
明白 and 白, you know. So you see something is something that you do with eyes, right? It's about vision, right? In Chinese, 明 and 白 both mean bright and white, right? It's all about vision. So I understand. When you say understand something, it's about vision in your languages. And there's so many things common in every single language. But after I learned English.
Don't you find though that there are also plenty of examples where doing that could be misleading? Actually, you know what? Maybe a better example would be let. 我让你 would be something that's really common,
right.
Which we might use in English to say I asked someone to do something or I pushed someone to do something, whereas we use the word let to mean allow. Yeah, if you want to, you can, but it's used differently. Is that something that helps or hurts language learning, you think?
Yeah, let also means let go, right? Let go of my hand, right?
Yeah.
It's something different. So I don't really have any assumption of one language. To me, I don't set up any assumption. I don't set up any rules. So that's and good. Then when I know different meanings of let, I just like, oh, another meaning. Oh, okay. Another
just
meaning.
Accept
okay.
a new meaning. Yeah.
It's not Chinese, so I don't need to worry about that.
So you're somehow using Chinese in some ways to help remember things and understand things like see, but not necessarily letting that get in the way of learning new things. If someone says, actually, we use let in it's more casual. We're not trying to push anybody to do something. Okay, I got it, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't let one rule get the best of you.
Yeah.
Never like that. You need some agility. You need to be flexible. Also, if you try to memorize words, I think it's better to learn the root of words, right? Like bicycle, bi means two, so two circles, bicycle. So it helps too.
Yeah, learning prefixes, suffixes, and roots can be very useful, I think, for sure.
Yeah, just like when you learn Chinese, you got the different radicals, right?
Yeah. Like
三点水 means water, so yeah.
Boring but useful. Boring to learn, but useful as well. Yeah. No, I mean, I totally that approach makes total sense. Again, sometimes I have generally students ask me, why does this phrasal verb mean this, right? Why does come across specifically mean discover? Well, I could explain it. That's fine. I can try to make a sort of a logical reason for it. But will that really help? I mean, when I learned it, I didn't learn that explanation. I just learned it in the situation. So I think that's far secondary. It seems to me to be secondary to just this is just what we say in this situation.
Right.
If there's a reason, you can know it if you want to, but does it really matter?
Yeah. I think as a Chinese, I think it's important to really know the explanation, the meaning of such things. But as you mentioned, it came at a secondary level. First of all, accept it, do it, accept it, do it, repeat it, and then know the meaning. That's it helps. If you don't know the meaning, it's also fine, right?
Yeah.
Who cares if you don't know the meaning of such word or such explanation, right?
Well, it depends on how we say it. What meaning compared to reason it's there that way. right?
Or the reason is like the
Reason,
reasoning
yeah.
why.
I mean, the
Okay.
reason I think is less important. Meaning, of course, is important, but why
Yeah.
is it this instead of something else? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just is. I think
Right. It
that's
just
less.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It
Right.
just is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you have any, let's
Yep.
say, resources that you've come across in addition to, you mentioned using TV shows and movie trailers. I'm wondering if there's anything that you think, even if it's obvious, people should know if they want to improve their English. Things that you've discovered along your own English learning journey.
Right. I think before I left China, there was so many online website in Beijing, like the Beijinger, the BJ stuff.
Hmm.
It helps foreigners in China and Beijing and Shanghai to make friends and to solve their problems about housing, about job, about food.
Yeah,
So I pretty much
e-China
post stuff,
cities,
post
right?
forums, yeah, stuff like that. So I pretty much post my advertisings or stuff on that. Say I need language partner, something like that, or next Sunday we are going to the Great Wall. Anyone want to join us? I made lots of offline activities
That's cool.
and then met friends. Yeah, that's how I use those resources. Also, the Tango, which was famous many years ago, the Groupon
Hmm.
in China. Groupon. Yeah, I always do like the Groupon stuff, like Yunnan restaurant, 10 yuan per each guy. Come join us. Oh God, so many foreigners like to join our activities.
That's a really good idea. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you
yeah.
you saw yourself as a portal
As
to
organizer. Yeah,
China,
the portal. Yeah,
and then
yeah.
through that, then you get something out of that, which is language
Right,
practice
right,
and friends.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
But
cool.
now I don't know because I just went back to China like last October last year,
Hmm.
and I haven't spoken English for almost half a year, so I really didn't know what I can answer you now. But
Yeah,
you really you have to make yourself resourceful.
yeah.
It means more chances and more platforms. Yeah.
So I mean, I think a lot of people might be a little shy to host dinner parties and take
Mhm.
people on tours, but I think that way of looking at the world, of seeing basically possibilities where most people wouldn't consider possibilities, is extremely
Is the
important,
language
right?
there?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's, I mean, it's something that people should do, but most people
Yeah.
don't do it, right? So that's cool that you did
Right.
that.
It's
What?
something that you should do and you can do, of course.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. You just do the preparation, as I said, right? Sentences, words, and got a translator by you. That's it.
And if you end up making mistakes or looking silly, as you said, it ultimately doesn't matter. Most people
Yeah,
don't care in any language. If someone is speaking your language, they usually appreciate that you are, and they don't care if you make any mistakes.
right. As long as they understand what you mean, right?
Yeah,
Because it's a tool after all. Yeah,
yeah. Even if they don't, I
right.
mean, I personally really enjoy talking with someone who speaks
Your language,
no
right?
language that I understand,
Oh,
and we're trying to figure out things through body language and gestures
all
and
right.
using
All right.
pictures and drawing things in the dirt. That's my favorite thing.
And sign language too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean
Yeah, sign
that's really
language.
cool.
Yeah. Am I at the
Well,
center now? Good.
now you are, yeah.
Okay, good.
For the first
I have to always
time,
double check
for
that.
the first time,
Okay.
you're good. I can adjust it. No worries.
All right.
Okay, so last question I have, and then if there's anything else you want to mention, that's fine too. Last question I wanted to ask is about something that most English learners do that they shouldn't
Yeah.
do. That's a giant waste of time.
What they
Things,
should do and they
something,
should do.
yeah. Most English learners think, okay, I must do this, and they all do that,
Hmm.
but actually that's a terrible idea, as
Okay.
wrong, according
Okay.
to you.
So what they should do,
What they no
God, I
what they
think,
do but they shouldn't do. In other words,
oh, what they do, but they should.
a
Oh,
common, let's say,
common mistake that Chinese students have. That's it, right?
Not only a
Something like this.
mistake, but let's say, for example, a lot of learners would say something like, I must learn vocabulary lists. I think we both agree that that's not a
Oh,
good
okay.
idea. That would be
Yeah.
something that they shouldn't do, that they do. A lot of English learners do,
Okay.
right?
Okay. I mean, still they can do. It's up to them.
They
They can
can,
do,
they
of
can.
course.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's
We're,
useful. It's really useful.
yeah,
They have to like work on their arsenal, right? The base
yeah,
vocabulary
sure.
of the arsenal.
Everything helps a
I would
little.
say, I think I think you have to start being patient and not being too, not expect too much. Don't think that okay, in 1 or 2 months you can master one language really well. No, you're not. It's not Cantonese. It's not Shanghainese. It's another totally different new language, right?
Right.
So be patient to yourself and be patient to the person whom you speak to, right? To create that environment.
What benefit?
And
What
then
benefit does that
gradually,
give you
yeah,
if
go
you're
ahead.
patient with yourself? What benefit do you get from that?
If you're patient, you don't lose your focus, right? If you're patient,
Yeah.
you don't get angry, you don't feel irritating about something you haven't reached. So you can still focus on what you have now, right? Finally, one day you will have it, and you will be more confident uh, after you got one word, you got two sentences, and then you put them together, master them well. Okay, today I got this one. You know what? I just realized I can master English well, right? And then tomorrow you work on something else, and then you make some mistakes, some setbacks, and then next week, oh, I got two more grammars really well, right?
Yeah.
So you gradually improve English, and then little setup, little lag behind, and then you improve a little bit, and then you got some mistakes, and then improve. After this, after this stage, a huge improvement, and then you go to the next stage, right?
Yeah.
You improve very slowly, some mistakes, improves very slowly, some setbacks, and then another stage. It's like you play a game, right?
It is. It does sound like a video game, and
You
may I
you,
add,
you
it also sounds very.
accumulate,
It's very zen
yeah,
as well.
right. Like you accumulate scores, you accumulate experience, expertise.
Yeah.
Not that fast, and then some setbacks, and then at such moment it hits you, right? Another stage.
Yeah.
That's why
That
I say don't expect too much and be patient.
that totally makes sense. I feel that
Yeah.
so many learners have this anxiety and self-loathing toward themselves. I'm so bad at this. And
God, I feel
they
sorry to them.
focus
I really
on
feel sorry to them.
how terrible they are, rather than
Right.
thinking, geez, I learned a word today. Man, that's pretty good. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go drink some lemonade. It's a
Right.
more natural attitude toward it, and that is
Yeah,
something that can
attitude. That's
stay
right.
long
That's right.
term. That's something that can last
Right.
for years instead of weeks. Right?
Right.
Yeah, it makes total
So the
sense.
attitude, right? So the attitude plays an important role in the long run. Don't make it emotional, right?
Yeah.
If you make it emotional, make it happy. If you don't feel happy, just do it, accept it, and try to always uh, evaluate your learning to see does it work for me. If does it work for me, if it doesn't work, just get rid of this rhythm. Try something else. Try something else. Try something else. And one day, I think you will have the improvement, and you will have the self motivation.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Well, what a great place to what a great note to end on. A zen
Thank you.
philosophical note from someone named Zen. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for sharing all of your
Thanks, man.
insights.
Yeah,
I really appreciate your
yeah.
time, and I'm excited
Thanks for the interview.
to share this with learners. I think they'll benefit a lot.